Hey, greetings, everyone. Peace and blessings. It's me, Reverend Rod, and here today with Reverend Madeline. We are presenting today from One Love Center for Spiritual Living, and it's such a pleasure to be here. So good to have you again, Madeline.
It's wonderful to be here. I'm always inspired when I get to this location. Thank you, Reverend Rodney.
Yeah, you're so welcome, Reverend Madeline. And just for those who don't know, Reverend Madeline has been as far as I know, I'd say she's been a lifelong practitioner, and as we all are actually, but she's licensed and trained like many of us are, and she's a wonderful inspiration to me as well. We served at Creative Light Church of Religious Science Center for but it was Creative Light, and we just had a wonderful time. He's a great teacher, great instructor, great speaker, and
Thank you.
all around dear heart, dear friend, wonderful mother, grandmother, and yeah, she just is a wonderful light on the planet. So we have a wonderful service celebration in store. However, first we start with our opening song, and it's our all-time favorite, Choosing Heaven. And your job, should you choose to accept it, and whether you know it or not, you're always choosing what heaven looks like for you. And we're going to do it today on a conscious level. And so I say grand rising consciousness to each and every one, and choose. What are you choosing for heaven to look like and feel like for you this day? And as I also must say, that since we're all one, what you choose for yourself, you're choosing for all, because we're all one. And so what we choose for all on the highest possible level. So here we go. And also feel free to write it into the chat and into the comments, so that Reverend Madeline, when she does our opening prayer, she can use what you choose in part of the prayer. How does that work? Wonderful. All right. So here we go. Choosing heaven today.
Heaven
Wonderful, wonderful. What have you been choosing today? I know that there is choosing life, choosing joy, health, wealth, prosperity, all good. And all of that is really part of our mission, um, for One Love Center for Spiritual Living. However, what we're going to do, actually, I am so feeling so inspired that we just have to hear Reverend Madeline do our opening prayer. We're going to just start with her, and she's going to set the stage for today. So take it away.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Well, right now, everybody, I invite you to take a conscious breath and feel that loving support in this moment. In this moment, feeling and knowing yourself as within this divine intelligence, this wisdom, this love, indestructible. You can never be separate from this divine presence. And in this presence, knowing, as the teacher Ernest Holmes said, you are not one with God, you are one of God. As Master Teacher Jesus said, don't you know ye are gods? This is the time to awaken to that self beyond the personal, but includes the personal, the self of the infinite, the oversoul, the one without a second, knowing, feeling, understanding yourself as inseparable from this power that breathes you, that beats your heart, that circulates your blood. And in this consciousness, we know that the good there is belongs to you. All the goodness that you would wish to experience is already there and awaiting your acceptance. So, right here and now, saying yes to this abundant, beautiful life of prosperity in every way, in wonderful relationships, and satisfying creativity, in peace, in harmony, in the goodness that is, in the flow. You're in the flow and acknowledging it, allowing it, and opening to it is all you have to do. It's already there, it's already created. And like the song says, we're saying yes to good. And when in meditation we say, that's good beyond good. This is your home. You have reached your destination. We have left the idea of becoming on the level of our little selves and accept who and what you already are. Magnificent, all powerful, indestructible. Choose it. Choose it. It's a matter of your choice. And right now, the executive of you chooses that beingness, which contains everything, every particle of the universe you are connected to. And we say yes and yes. With great gratitude, how wonderful it is to know who and what you are. And in this moment, this now eternal moment, All that you desire belongs to you by divine right of consciousness. Enjoy it. And so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Madeline. And what you folks have experienced is affirmative prayer. It's a treatment. We are treating our minds and knowing the very truth about whatever that situation is. And we do it for free. You know, we love to do it. That's what we're trained to do. That's what we do. If you would like prayer, you can request prayer support. Email revrod17@gmail.com or call 844-295-5155. We are prayer professionals, ready, willing, and able to remind you that spirit is full of power, is all power, charge, and always within you for your immediate use. And if at any time you don't seem to remember that, call on us and we will know the truth about you and whatever that situation is. And as we like to say, myself, Ellen, and so many of us, is we'll do a treatment, spiritual mind treatment, which is not like, ordinary mind, brain stuff. We operate on that higher level of consciousness that you already heard Reverend Madeline talk about. That's where we operate. That's where we live. And it's our job to take on the request. It's confidential. So the most important thing you need to know is we will pray for 7 days. And your job is to let us know when that prayer, that treatment has been answered. And if it hasn't been, after 7 days, we'll continue. We pray until something happens. It's a spiritual push. All right. So that's what we do. And so let us know also, when it's answered or if it's not answered, because, we don't try to measure God time on this thing. We know that all prayer is answered. So just let us know when it happens. So this is a part of who we are and our mission. This is why we are here. We are here because, we provide a welcoming, stable community for all who choose to learn, practice, grow, and play in the unfolding of their understanding of spiritual principles and spiritual living. It's about spiritual living. That's why we use prayer and spiritual mind treatment, as well as the classes, the workshops. Hopefully we'll get back to in-person meetings as well. All of these things that we do to help practice, grow, and play in the unfolding of the spiritual principles, because we live by spiritual principle. This is what we teach. This is how you get to be, sustained by the Spirit, by the utmost highest consciousness of living spiritually. And so because of that, we envision a world as a sacred environment where the spiritual living flourishes through the continual growth and development of the learning and the application of the spiritual principles. That's it. There are spiritual principles, spiritual laws, and we use them all the time. Like we mentioned, choosing heaven, as Reverend Madeline said, it's a choice. And that's by law. You have that divine right to use the law for your greater good. Now, there are folks who use the law and it's not for their greater good or anybody's greater good. However, that's not what we teach. We teach how to use the law to have the best life possible, one moment at a time, one day at a time, and there's no limit to it. We say the sky's the limit. No, there's no limit to it. Nobody's saying you stop at the sky. It's like within you, you can go as deep as you like, as high as you like. And that's the beauty of learning how to use and apply the spiritual laws, spiritual principles in your life. And you get to be an example of how that works. And if you have any doubts, any questions about it, contact us and we will let you know. Okay. Most certainly you have every opportunity to practice. And I know Ernest Holmes was like the founder of Science of Mind and Spirit. religious science. He's like, don't take our word for it. Try it. Try it for 30 days. If something's not working, get back to us, let us know, and let's see what we can sort out. There's no have tos. You get to practice these principles on a conscious level of awareness. And that way, you're not just saying, oh, what happened? Hey, it worked out. Oh, how lucky. Well, no, there's something behind it. Reverend Michael Beckwith, who, one way or another has mentored so many of us, he would say, he had an acronym for luck, LUCK. He called it living under correct knowledge. So everybody else might say, oh, wow, you're lucky. And you can say, oh, I was practicing spiritual principle on a conscious level. So you can call it luck if you want. I was living under correct knowledge. He actually changed it to living under cosmic knowledge. He went even deeper, even higher. So anyway, that's what we do. And our community is lovingly created as a place of fellowship, meditation, prayer, sacred and healing service, musical celebration, classes, workshop, and spiritual film. And trust me, we want to get back to doing more of that soon, because that's, it's all about community. And so we say, welcome to a place where love grows. Our practitioner, Ellen, will always say, yes, love does grow. We grow in our understanding and the fulfillment of loving ourselves. And that love expands to all others. Why? Because we're all one. So that's what One Love is about. And so we're just so grateful that you could join us all today. I also want to mention that we are grateful and thankful. And at any time today, during the course of this celebration or after, feel free to donate or continue to donate. You don't have to wait until the segment of, hey, okay, now it's time to talk about abundance. You can do it anytime, and you can do it any day. And you can send your donations to go to our website and look for the donate button. You can do it through PayPal. So that's onelovecenter.org. Or you can use the Cash Me app, $OneLoveCSL. So we are grateful. We thank you. We do a lot of things. We do a lot of behind the scenes, making this available, helping out, organizations, on the outside. And, we just like to be of service. So any way that we can, we are, and we are welcome to accept your assistance as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So here we are again, Reverend Madeline. And so, as you heard in her opening prayer, we're talking about the flow of life. We're talking about the flow of coming and going, the flow of the title for today is Navigating the Tides of Life. And, there's the incoming tide and the outgoing tide. And it's so interesting. Tide has a purpose. It's like not necessarily it's like the circulation of the planet. Water makes up like something like 90% of some huge number of what's of mass on the planet. And so it's really interesting that there is a tide, and that's like the flow. Maybe it's the gravitational pull from the moon or any other bodies that are flying around, and the Earth's own spinning on its axis, and the wind, and all of these contribute to the flow of life. And it's interesting when you think about it. We go through the ebbs, the flow of the energy in our lives, and if it's the tide coming in or the tide going out, it's neither good nor bad. It just is, right? All right. And so what we're finding is that we go through these things in life. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, it helps to be spiritually aware of the things that are going on in our lives. So anyway, we're going to just start and talk about the things that go on in our lives, the in and the out. And I don't know if one is better than the other, the tide going out, or the tide coming in. I'm sure they both have qualities that work for our greater good. So, Madeline, is there something you want to talk about before we move into some quotes?
Well, I think what you're saying is so clear and wonderful, and that we remain in that consciousness that we are more than our personal situations. As the tide comes in and comes out, we can observe them,
Mm,
knowing that we're above and beyond, that we are the witnesses and the beingness which is undisturbed as the tides go in and out. And of course, we have been trained in our life experience to believe these thoughts, these worried thoughts, this that I have to figure it out, that I have to be safe, secure, whatever it is that we're worrying about in this little Madeline self, let me say,
mhm,
that coming from this consciousness of being, which you can never not be, all is well. When we are at that level, nothing can disturb us. And we open to that. It's not creating as much as uncovering,
mhm,
uncovering that self that is the God self that we are all connected to and to each other by. So when they say in programs, "Let go, let God," it
mhm.
really is putting it all in the God basket and letting it be. Ernest Holmes used to say, "Put it all on the altar of God and be
Mm.
free, and be free." So we learn to do that as the Madeline, the personal self, but it's already complete when we open to that infinite self. So practice, practice, practice is how we get to Carnegie Hall and just opening into that. So thanks, Rodney.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I love how you said that. And hi, Sherry. Glad you could join us. And it's interesting because um, to be an observer, uh, it's not the easiest thing because so often we want to involve ourselves with what's going on. We want to have a hand in everything and we want to control the tides, and to just sit back and be vulnerable. Not that, it doesn't mean being a victim. It's a different V word. Being
Yes,
vulnerable is the only way we get to open to that which is within us. Because if we put up a blockage like, no, nothing's going to touch me, then that prevents us from allowing our greatest selves to be expressed. All right. So yes, it might be protecting us in one way, but unfortunately, it's blocking the flow. It's like putting up a barrier to stop the ebb, the in and the outgoing of the tide of experiences. Because if you have a boat, you need the tide to rise to come in so your boat can float. you know, or at least get easier to get to it. And so a lot of societies, cultures have to wait for the tide to come in so they can get their boat in the water easily and move with the tide. And even under the water, there's the energies, the fish, whatever they're fishing for, sometimes it comes in with the tide. So there's benefits to it, and we have to be open to it, and as well as being open to the good that is ready for us. Like you said, it's already ready, it's already done. What we have to do our job. We have to be open. And let's see if we have a quote there we can get to. Oh, and this is in Spanish, so okay, here we go. And so as you mentioned, being an observer, and here's the first quote, and I'll read this. It says, "Just what is meant by the silence, a contemplation in the quiet of the mind, when the objective tumult is temporarily stilled, and we rise in our consciousness to that place of pure causation, which is spirit." And that's Ernest Holmes' Question and Answers on the Science of Mind, page 41. And would you like to speak to that?
Well, I love it. I know a friend and I, fellow practitioner from many years ago. We just call him Uncle Ernie, you know, because it is like a family member giving you this wisdom, senior wisdom teacher. Uh, yes, and sometimes we can't get to that silence. The mind will seem so noisy, so fraught, so worried. I think of it now as, oh, you know, a bunch of children in kindergarten. Look at me, look at me, look at me, worry about this, figure this out, find this, find this. And if we can just watch it without getting involved, without getting connected, without identifying with the noise, we can enter the silence. And in the silence, we are above that busy, usual thought. You know, we get like 90,000 thoughts a day or something like that. We
Yeah.
rise above that into pure consciousness by letting go of the noise, by
Mhm.
entering that silence. That's where wisdom, imagination, uh, inspiration
Mhm.
comes from. That
Yeah.
quiet, not our usual running around.
Yeah. And which is contrary to what a lot of us think that we have to do. A lot of times we think running around and trying to make it happen is the answer. And as a matter of fact, it doesn't really solve the things that we think it's going to solve. And so, yeah, so it reminds me of the biblical quote of the apostle, the disciples, and Jesus in the boat, and there was a tempest going on, and they're like, "Master, master," it's like, "Yo, sit down, man." You're rocking the boat, but it's like, "What do we do? What do we do?" And he says, "What? Peace, be still." It's like this is, he's like, "Wait, when all around you seems to be going crazy, don't go crazy with it. Be still, relax, and allow that stuff to happen, and you will find that inner peace." And it's like when we have stuff going on crazy in our mind and we think we can't control what's happening in our lives or feeling like a victim, take a pause, be still. And as we calm down our thoughts, like you mentioned, those thoughts, we have control over our thoughts. That's the whole premise of this teaching, of most religious teaching, which is based on spirituality. And basically, it's control, change your thinking, change your life. Think a different way about it. Don't try to, you
Yes.
know, join in and in that tempest, because it's only going to be more tempest. you know.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Rodney, also, yeah, this is such a good information that opens us to this one of, well, master teacher again, who
Mhm.
by thinking can grow 1 cubit. You
Yeah.
know, uh, I haven't grown a cubit. I'm still at one. It's not the thinking that does it. It's opening to trust. We're all energy. When you say spirit, that's just energy, serenity,
Yeah, there you
serene
go.
energy, serene energy. That is just fantastic. I'll never forget the time when I was in the middle of Manhattan and crossing my street, and I look up and there's this license plate, Serenity, at the corner of 72nd and
Yes.
who took Rodney's car? But it just proves to me that whatever there's a choice between the yada, yada, yada and the pause and the conscious thinking, the consciousness, the choice, rather than taking everything that goes along and grabbing onto it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's amazing. Thank you for remembering that, because it was like as I pull up to the light, and it's so easy at times to, when you're driving, you're looking at something in your car,
Yes.
you're not paying attention. And it was like this moment of in the quietness, in the stillness, no horns, no anything. Here's Madeline walking in front. I was like, well, and it's like Midtown Manhattan. I mean, this is Manhattan.
Yeah.
Millions and millions of people. Yet, and I live in Brooklyn. You live in Manhattan. To be that close to each other in the moment is just awesome. And that's
We're talking 20 years ago, Rod.
yeah, and I know we still have that consciousness at work.
Yep.
Like thinking about each other, a few days ago, simultaneously. And that happens for us, for folks, for all of us, more than we realize, more than we give credit to. So anyway, I want to bring up another quote. And are you able to read this?
Nothing can hurt, or disturb my spiritual self. I am free and safe. All plans and ideas can wait till later. Yes, my mind is quiet, calm, and deeply still. My body rests in the still silence of the spirit.
Mm.
And there are times when I have found, I call it my nut dance. When everything is this anxious, busy mind, and to take a breath, you can only breathe in this moment. So conscious breathing returns me to the sense of now. And everything else, every worry, every plan, every idea, are just noise at that moment, are just sensations. And when I breathe in this moment, my body goes quiet, and there is no past and worry of the future. It's only this moment. And this is new, and this is now. And as Reverend Rodney always reminds us, now, new and now, without
Yes.
the noise, without the clutter.
And, it's interesting when you think about the tide, whether it's coming in or going out, it's never the same water that is coming in or going out. And talk about new, so the things that are going on in our lives or in our mind or, our experiences, they come and they go. They're not here to stay. The tide just doesn't rush in and that's it. Even a tsunami, it's like overwhelming, but it does recede. It does leave, and we have to have the presence of mind, using our spiritual practices to get through it, and there's no getting around it. Sometimes you got to go through it. We can run, and we still have to deal with the effects, and that's where our training and our practice comes in. I don't mean, you have to be a minister or a practitioner or anything, it's just for all of us to put into practice, what we need to do in the moment, whether the tide's coming in or out, no matter what that transition or that, it says navigating, the tide, so even if we're in the midst of it on the water, we're like in the middle of it, we still have to have the presence of mind And usually, as many people may know, especially lifeguards, if somebody is drowning, you have to be very careful because they can be flailing around and not have the presence of mind. And usually, they try to still the person. And actually, how do you float? You float by being still, and then you rise. And so it takes. Some people just float easily. I have to really work at floating. I have to like breathe because if you hold your breath, you sink. You have to breathe through it, and somehow we're lighter, and we can deal with the environment. But we have to breathe through it. We have to relax through it, and when we tense up, somehow we become heavier. It becomes more challenging, and we have to allow for the flow that's going on in our body, the circulation of oxygen, the circulation of our blood, and so it's all relative. And I hope you guys are getting this, and this is what we're teaching. It's like how to have that energy flowing, because when we hold our breath and we tighten up, that shuts down the blood flow, or not completely, but to our brain. Without the oxygen bringing the blood, all of a sudden we can't navigate nothing. We sink like a rock.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see. I believe we have another quote. Oh, not that one. Yes. And here again, it says, opting to pause and reflect rather than panic or withdraw is a necessity. It's not a luxury or a distraction. It is a way to increase the odds that you will better understand and engage productively with the world around you. Thomas Friedman, thank you for being late. Is his writing? Yeah, I like that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, opting to pause and reflect rather than panic or withdraw is a necessity, and it shows up in so many areas of our lives. So all of you who are watching, listening, whether it's live or Memorex or the recording, and please feel free to send this to share this. Somebody might benefit from this. I'm sure somebody will, besides yourself. And so, yeah, here this just reflects what I had already mentioned, and this is so important that we get to do that. I want to. Can you handle this one, please?
Pardon me?
Yeah, can you read this one and speak on it?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Well, it's uh, we think in this noisy, busy world with everything coming at us, uh, we can get to be victims. We can get to feel like that we're at the mercy of whatever's going on around us. And science of mind teaches us what's going on around us, what's going on inside us is more important than what's going on around us. That's the creative spirit. So when we pause, we are organizing our inner world. We are able, none of the world and whatever's going on would exist without our awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the power to pause and open. Whoops. I'm sorry. We have the power to pause and open to that greater self, to that over self, that awareness, which is always there, no matter what we're doing. There is awareness, no matter if we're feeling bummed or joyous. The thing that is eternal is the awareness. And the more we identify with that awareness, we see this rising tide, this coming and going. I always had an image of this tide as we can write in the sand. We can build beautiful castles. We can write what's bothering us. And whoops, the tide comes in and wipes it away. So, in that kind of going with the flow, uh, there's another story. You may be familiar with this, Rodney, of when you put a child in a lifesaver and put the child in the water, the child will kick and splash and get water up its nose, not realizing it's safe.
Mm,
It's safe. So often we do that, like the child. We're just, oh my gosh, I got to do this. I got to, blah, blah, blah,
mm.
blah, blah, blah. And we're just making things more difficult in that busy surface mind. So in this pause, we go beyond the mind, the busy mind.
Absolutely. And here's a quote, and from Taoism. It says, "Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like." Lao Tzu. And yeah, like you mentioned, you don't have to splash around and panic. Don't resist. We find ourselves in it. What's next? Let's move with reality. And so thank you for that. There was another quote I wanted to bring up. This one. Would you read that one?
Oh, love it, love it. Change is never painful. Only resistance to change is painful. Yeah,
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 that
yeah,
that, that says a lot.
yeah. And Reverend Rodney, I have heard you say a lot. What we resist persists.
Yes, yeah.
What we resist persists.
And
So it's allowing, accepting. Yeah, that's the flow.
that's
That's the
it.
flow.
That's
Yeah.
it. Being in the flow. So it's so important, for everyone. Um, this stuff doesn't just like happen on automatic. I mean, we would like it to, uh, and maybe for some it does. Some people just normally are at ease, and like with what happens, and then deal with what's next. Uh, but for the most part, we can all use help when things get a little dicey, when it looks like a tsunami, and maybe it's not, but it just looks that way. It's like the tide is rising. And we already speculate, not even speculating. We're imagining the worst. And it's like at that time we need to pause. And if we're not able to call somebody, if we're not able to take a break and like, wait a minute, I don't know where my thinking is going, like it's thinking the worst and nothing is happening. Yes, the tide is rising, but it doesn't, and I can't tell if it's going to flood or if it's just going to rise and go back out. Call somebody, email, text somebody, and like, hey, my thinking, like in 12-step world land, or, they're like upside down thinking, thinking, our best thinking can sometimes be upside down, you know? And if whatever we're thinking doesn't seem to lead to our highest and best experience, contact somebody and let them know what you're thinking. Okay. Now, I like to say that what we call thinking is overrated. Okay. Most of the time, what we call thinking is rehashing or remembering or trying to
Yes.
recreate something that already happened and wasn't
Yes.
even in our highest good. And even if it was, are we being open to the incoming tide bringing something fresh? Most of the time, we're like, oh my gosh, I thought, which really means I remember it was that way. I thought it was supposed to be. No, that is trying to remember how it was, how it felt. And that's what we call thinking. So we have to be open, maybe to contemplate something with a fresh idea, with a fresh mind, with fresh eyes, and we can contact somebody. And that's why we are here in One Love Center, and even with Madeline. And Madeline, I do want you to mention what you do also with Kristen and Vincent, and they were
Yes.
all wonderful members of Creative Light, and actually, have participated with One Love. So let us know, and I'll put some information in the chat as well.
Thanks. Well, what we do uh, on Saturdays, they're free sessions from 12:30 to 1:30 Eastern Time. And the name of it is Release and Be Free.
Mm-hmm.
In treatment, what I have found, and as Reverend Rodney was saying, yes, reach out, reach out. But the more we do this, the more it becomes second nature or first nature. We're getting rid of second nature and going to first nature. That
Yes.
we return to that, that it becomes much easier to intervene on your own behalf and
Yes.
say, these thoughts are not God thoughts. They're not for my highest and best. And that has, in the years I've been practicing, that comes more quickly. And I'm able to reach out to somebody or intervene on my own behalf and say, this is not the truth. This is just some static, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to tune into a higher frequency. So we do that. For me, the greatest thing of the treatment process is the release, where
Yes.
I let go in total trust. And that's what happens Saturday mornings. We discuss what all the wanting is, that the ego wants, that we're not really separate from. But this wanting is the opposite of having.
Yes.
So we move into that consciousness of already, somewhere in the literature, Reverend Rodney mentioned Neville Goddard, and he was a wonderful wisdom teacher where he practiced having, the feeling of having what you want instead of wanting. And that is a vibration, a frequency that just opens you. So please, join us. It's fun. As the founder of that program, Lester Levinson, said, you can laugh your way to heaven. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we do. Looking forward to seeing you whenever it works. And the details are in. You can reach me through my Gmail account, and I will send you the link for our Saturday calls.
Absolutely. Great, great. And I participated in it, and it definitely is wonderful. And like so many of these spiritual practices, a lot of times we feel like it's, oh, boom, you get hit on the head like a gong, and like, oh, I get it, and so much of our spiritual practice is not like that. It really does work from the inside out, and when we release, it's like I know I've felt such a sense of peace and joy. It feels so natural and normal. I don't realize when it happened. I can't, there's not the line of like, oh, panic and turmoil, and then oh, peace and relaxation. It's a natural state, and we begin to recognize that it's there all the time. It's there all along, and we can now and then, help every now and then to get to that point of it. My acronym for IT is infinite truth. And the infinite truth is that God is all there is, in us, through us, as us, everywhere, all the time. And to get back to it, we need help. And releasing call is awesome. And here's a practice I would like to share with everyone as well. And this you can do. You don't have to wait till Saturday, but you can do Saturday also, and us on Sunday. However, in between, it says, oops, so not that one. Hold on. We did that one. Okay, here it is. A daily practice for keeping the life force flowing. Take a walk for the purpose of blessing people. That's all. Everyone you encounter, bless them. And as you do this, you become energized because you've been letting God's energy flow through you. Evan Hodkins, School of Alchemy. Now, I want to say this. This is not necessarily a disclaimer, when you're blessing people, you don't have to like lay hands on them. You don't have to like, I bless you. You can if you want. However, you can do, it's like silent meditation. You can walk, and everybody that is in your gaze, whether you get eye contact or not, your thought is, I bless you. God bless you. I bless you. You are blessed. You can do that. And some people will get it. They'll pick up on it and they'll smile right back at you, and you don't have to even wait for any communication. Just bless everyone that you encounter, however you do it. You're riding the bus or the subway, you look at somebody, you bless them, you're like hitting them with a shotgun of love, and they don't even know what hit them, and it doesn't matter because they got it. So give that a shot, not, literally, but figurative. A daily practice, see how that feels for you. Don't even worry about how anybody else feels. How does that feel for you? And, I got to say, what I like to say is, since we're all one, the blessing that you bestow upon somebody else, it comes right back to you. Now, in all honesty, being a true scientist here, it doesn't come back. It never leaves you. It's with you all the time. We like to say, oh, I'm giving you my love. Well, you know what? I'm giving you the idea that I love myself so much, that this is an example that you get to love you as well. That's really how it works, because yes, my love energy, I mean, even if it could go forth, it never ends. It's never empties. It's eternal. And it's a direct line. It's a direct string, of energy, of love, whatever you want to call it. There is no separation. There's no gaps to the energy that we share from our mind, from our heart, from our presence on the planet. So anyway, we're going to do some affirmations. And Madeline, I love you so much.
I love you, sweetie. And and we are the first beneficiary of that love. When we're thinking love, we're just opening to that love. I wanted to say one quick thing. The previous passage about alchemy.
Yes.
And the idea of alchemy, there's a phrase in the releasing program called correcting with love.
Mm.
And love is the alchemy that transforms. And I have had that. I'm just here to testify. I have had, when I have stopped an image of a person who's been, quote unquote, giving me trouble, and looked at them instead for who they are, and getting rid of the image, changing the image of the person to what my thoughts, my mini Madeline, not too swift thoughts are about them. Let go of that opinion. Alchemy, I have, what do they say? Enemies become friends.
Yes.
And I've had so many experiences with people who I thought were difficult, who turned out to be such wonderful experiences in my life. So, all right, Rodney, thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, indeed. And it works. I've had experiences like that where persons seem like an enemy. They seem like this hate was never going to leave me.
Yes.
And I mean, phone calls and everything. And I was actually new in religious science. I was taking a foundations class, and I mentioned what was happening, and they said, bless them, bless them with love, bless them that they find happiness. And I would do that. I wouldn't reflect back what they were giving me. I had to stop that, and the yelling, the screaming, leave me alone, blah, 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 and feeling like a victim. And I just blessed them, and I would gently hang up the phone. I wouldn't slam it, or if it was an email, I would just type back, God bless you, God loves you, and may you find true happiness. And eventually the person stopped and then would talk with a civil tongue, and then would talk with like a nice gentle tongue. I'm like, oh, hey, this stuff really works. you know
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
I remember one of my early teachers saying, "Oh, this stuff works."
yeah,
And after a while, it's not so surprising. You would begin to rely on it. It does work. It does
yeah,
work.
yeah.
Yeah,
I want to mention
great.
something else that works about in the midst of turmoil. Madeline, Reverend Madeline, you mentioned something about Ernest Holmes getting his fingers stuck in a car door. You remember telling that
Oh, I
story?
love that story. Yes, and that was Obadiah, Dr. Obadiah tells the story about Ernest Holmes. And I have one to tell about you, Rodney.
Yeah.
Uh, they were in a car and they got out of the car, and his hand, Obadiah was riding with him, and Ernest Holmes' hand got smashed as the door closed. The door opened, there was nothing on his fingers, nothing there. And Obadiah, who was a doctor, couldn't
Mhm.
believe that happened. Now, a long time ago, Rodney, you were in the hospital, and I was coming to visit you, and I was working in Queens,
Mhm.
and I was doing a lot of prayer for you, and I was in a high state. And do you still like pear juice, Rodney?
Yes.
Rodney used to like pear juice, and I was running across Queens Boulevard, which was very, big distance, to a store where I knew they had pear juice because I wanted to bring it to Rodney. And I brought and I fell, and I had, I bruised very easily. I'm letting go of that, but I used to bruise
Yes.
easily.
Yes.
My knee was bloody, bruised, all of that, stockings torn, but I had to catch the train. I got to Rodney's room, gave him the pear juice, looked down. There was no pain, there was no blood, there was no bruise because I was in a continual. It's not
Yes.
because I'm special, not a bit. It was just because I kept using that. And
Yes.
so these experiences, uh, uh, one person said to me recently, and I loved it, Jesus was not the great exception, he was the great example.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. And
Yeah,
Madeline, for you telling me that story, was that Dr. Obadiah? Was it Obadiah or?
yes,
Yes.
yes.
When you told me that story, shortly a while after that, I was driving limo at the time. I was in a rush. I went to the gas station, and as I jumped out the car, I closed the door behind me, and my finger was stuck in the
Ah,
door. And I
ah,
thought of that instantly. But before I thought of that, I thought, I don't have time for this. And like I had to open the door, take my hand out, which was like blowing my mind. Yeah.
yeah,
And I thought, okay, the first thought was, I don't have time for this. This cannot happen. And I had the second thought was my finger's gonna blow up like in the cartoons, like bum, 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 bum. And but I'm like, no, that can't happen. This can't happen now. And I put gas in the car, I paid for it, I went driving. And then when I had a moment to think about it, I'm like, nothing's going to happen to my thumb. It's going to be fine. There's not going to be any problem. And then the thought crept in, like, well, maybe there might be a bruise. I'm like, oh, no, no, no. Okay. So I do my job and, I go home, go to sleep, wake up in the morning. I had a bruise. And I thought, if I had stuck with nothing, I would not have had nothing. But I had a bruise, which was
yeah,
unimaginable even on that level because my whole finger was stuck in the door. I mean, I didn't,
yeah, yes,
so yes, we can be still in the midst of that and not have, what the general fear thought would bring about. Because
yeah,
that's what makes it happen. If,
yes,
if you stop and go, ouch, oh, that energy is going to create the very thing that we really don't want to show up. And we
exactly,
have to be
exactly.
still. Peace, be still,
Yeah.
and what is it? Yes, we want to, flow to wherever we're going, not have it
Yes.
be crazy and turbulent. So we have some affirmations that we can also use to assist us in our flowing. Okay.
Yes.
So, Madeline, I'll have you do two, and I'll do the middle one. You do the first one.
Okay.
And so, folks, remember, we take a breath and then do the affirmation. And Madeline will say, okay, take a breath, recite the affirmation, and then I'll do the same thing. And then Madeline will close it. So here we go.
Thank you.
So take it.
Okay. We take that breath, centering us in the now and knowing it is so that I flow in the sway of life.
Yes. Take a
Let
breath.
that, yes,
Take a breath, release,
yes,
and say, it is so that I awaken to my own true nature and being, my own humanity.
yes.
And the next one.
It is so as we breathe that I gratefully remember that I am, we all are, a channel of the one source.
Yes.
We cannot escape that.
hmm And so it is, and now it is. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So at this point, I'm going to do a quick treatment. We'll bring Madeline back in just a moment. So Madeline will be back. And just knowing as we go within, as we live in that higher place deep within, that there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is whole, perfect, and complete. Is my life now. It's the life of each and every one. Because we are one, we are all a channel of the one, channel of the source. We are sourced from that creator. And so I am knowing for each and every one that there is a place of peace within that is available in all of our affairs, wherever we may find turbulation, wherever turbulence, wherever we might find anything that seems to upset our day, our moment in a day, that there is a place for peace within. In our relationships, that there is only one. I can never stop saying that there is only one. And for God has created everything out of itself. And so we are all of the one. And because of that, we are all one. And therefore, God has no conflict with anything. And so therefore, since we are the essence of the divine, we are made of the same God stuff. Therefore, there is no true, real reason for us to have conflict with anything in this life, with each other. No conflict, no war. There is only the opportunity for peace and greater peace, that awareness of oneness. For what we do to one, we do to each other. So let's be at peace with ourselves and reflect that peace everywhere we go. I am knowing that is true with our health, that we invite the realm of peace on the inside and realize it's already been there. And so therefore we see it reflected on the outside. And I know this is true in each and every one of our relationships with money, with finances, that we don't have to stress or struggle or strain, knowing that it is God's good pleasure to give of the kingdom. Like the lilies of the field, they don't toil. They know their good is assured. They simply be and allow to be in the flow. So I am knowing this is true in all of our situations and circumstances, and know that we are at choice and get to choose being in the flow of life's ups and downs, ins and outs. And we handle it with ease and grace, and allow ourselves to be reminded of that with practitioners, with our friends, those who are listening with the heart. So I give thanks for knowing this word is already bringing forth a greater manifestation, bringing forth the intention for this greater good being revealed in the here and the right now and every now moment. So I release this word, knowing it is good, that it is done already from the mind of God. It is already done. The mind of God is shared by all, so therefore we all know it to be true. I let it be right here, right now, and so be it, and so it is, and now it is. And at this time, I'm going to bring Madeline back.
Hi, it's Madeline back.
Madeline back and Madeline front and center.
That
So,
was just wonderful. Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
thank you. Thank you. So I want to remind folks that, we are prayer professionals, ready, willing, and able to remind you that Spirit is full of power, charged, and already always within you for your immediate use. You can put a prayer request in at our email, revrod17@gmail.com, or you can also call our number 844-295-5155. Your prayer requests are kept in the strictest of confidence. And please know that we do our treatment for 7 days. Let us know. If it's done sooner than that, let us know. If it's not done at 7 days, send us an email. Let us know. All right. Also, we are grateful and thankful for your donations, for your giving, for your love, and for your support. And we have our PayPal. You get to it from our website, onelovecenter.org. Look for donate, and you can do it through PayPal. You can also do it through the Cash Me app, which is $OneLoveCSL. So thank you for that. We're going to now go into our affirmation of abundance, because it's all about affirming the truth. Heart to mind, mind to heart, that flow of that circulation is what makes it happen. And so we're going to do the affirmation of abundance, that money, as one of many gifts of Spirit, is good. And as I share my offerings, I know that I am actively creating a space to receive more gift, more money, and more good. And yes, and I am grateful for the ability to receive and for the good work these gifts do in our center and in our world. And now it is. And so it is. So we do have some quick announcements. And first, we are requesting assistance in managing our broadcast, someone behind the scenes. So please contact us. You can do it again through revrod17@gmail.com. Or you can call and contact us on 844-295-5155 to be of service. Bless you and thank you. Also, we're looking to start our Beyond Limits class, move into living beyond your limiting beliefs. By registering for our class, Beyond Limits, go to our website /events, onelovecenter.org/events. Let us know your intention to be part of the class. It's wonderful. Beginning to what this teaching is, and it's more than that, because it moves you beyond your limits. And you don't have to be scared, or even if you are, even better reason to join if you are scared. So you'll find you have nothing to be afraid of. You'll build your strength, your faith, and you'll move beyond whatever limiting thoughts and beliefs you've been accustomed to, and make new customs for your life. All right. So there was some other, I don't see them right now. Check our website, onelovecenter.org, and also tune in again next week. You can also look at our archives at the previous broadcasts, previous celebrations. And so I'm now going to invite Madeline, any closing words before we go into prayer.
I would like to remind everybody, Louise Hay, who started out as a student in science of mind, stop criticizing yourself. Stop when you feel that inner Judge Judy come up, evict her immediately, and know that you are here. You have been created to experience something unique and wonderful as only you could, and you are empowered and supported 100%. And Rodney's classes sound wonderful. That is it. Knock down those limits.
Yes.
Knock them down. They're just like a bunch of blocks, baby blocks, and you'll learn how to do that in that class. This has been wonderful. Thank you for inviting me, Reverend Rodney.
You're
Love
so
being
welcome.
here. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Reverend Madeline. I appreciate you always. With your wisdom and your enthusiasm, your energy is always high and wonderful. And I love what you said. Like where if we find ourselves criticizing ourselves, we're the ones creating a tsunami. We're the ones making waves. It's like life is enough. When we find out, life happening seemingly outside of us. However, let's be responsible for our own ocean, our own sea, our own tides coming in and out, because we can do that enough on our own. So the less that we can stop criticizing, that makes for some peaceful waters. There's no turmoil on the inside. So thank you so much for that. So with that, we're going to go into prayer and finish up with a wonderful song, uplifting song. So as we go within, as we recognize that we are always within, and that each and every one, regardless of when you watch this, you are already included in this. So I am knowing there's only one power, one life. That life is a life of the divine, infinite intelligence that already knows what to do, how to do it, when to do it. And our part is to say yes. And so I say yes to navigating the tides, realizing that the in and the out is not a good or bad. It's just the in and the out. I can flow with it. I can ride the waves. All right. I know that it can be peaceful based on my thoughts, on my belief. I allow for that myself to be at peace. And I pass my word to Madeline.
And knowing and understanding in every cell of our body, in every thought, in every heartbeat, that I am, that we are never, ever separate. There is nothing that can separate us, even our own thoughts, from that God divine energy, which is always moving us forward, opening us to better than the best. Right now, we allow it, we accept it, we go deeply into that place of beingness without criticism, without memory, where we are new, open for better than the best.
Yes.
The truth is in us, as us, around us. It is our consciousness that creates and creates from this place of love, peace, harmony, prosperity, goodness, beyond goodness. And so it is.
And so it is, and now it is. Yes. All right. So stick around, folks. We have a wonderful song, and then we'll say our formal so long, see you later. So hold on. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get to rise in God, a rising tide of love, of that wonderful love energy, the light. Woo! Thank you all. Thank you, Reverend Madeline. Always a pleasure. We'd love to have you back soon.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. And just everyone here, know you are loved beyond anything you've ever experienced or imagined. You're
Yes.
entitled to have it all and the best of the best.
Yes, indeed. And the best is always yet to come. It gets better and better. The
Yep.
best gets better. Your best gets better. Peace and blessings. See you next week.